as you are a truly change maker in technology, edutech, and social impactful work.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for the warm welcome. And it's a pleasure to be here today amongst all of you, dignitaries and faculties, students, whoever present. Thank you so much for having me over today.
Thank you, sir. Before we begin with your corporate and your company, I would like to know that you have been traveled world across. So, how it actually changed and approached you towards the digital transformation of India?
Well, I started off pretty early. Like I started working when I was in class 12, and I worked in different roles and responsibilities. Primarily, it was sales. Following which, I was also heading up marketing and consulting projects, branding and storytelling, mostly for large companies. I was working with the C-suits across ICT in different regions. For example, North America, Europe. I was piloting projects for APAC region. And having done all of that, I was leading an entire sales unit out of India. I have been invited across by clients to deploy our consulting and talk about in different terms and propositions of what our delivery services used to be. So it excited. I always had this forward-looking understanding of when GNIIT was bringing in courses, graduation programs back in 2007-8, and AWS was coming into picture with Azure taking fast super speed steps up in 2012-13, and understanding the SDN network. So I do not belong to an ICT background academically, but I'm a self-taught kind of an individual who has key understanding and knack to learn more about what is happening around the ICT world. So in 2015-16, I started off, looking into the dynamics of the Byju's and the upgrades of the world, as in how they're able to bring change in education and what primarily technology is doing in education. Because there was a lot of buzz around edtech and the kind of things that were happening around with the big billion bets that investors were making into. So that kind of scratched off the project with secondary research. I was also involved in different because I was employed at that point of time. I could not start off my own business. So I started off my own once before, and then I was doing ad hoc projects, engaging myself to understand what are the nitty-gritties happening in the IT world versus what are the things being deployed into the education world. There are few reasons why it comes into picture, why ed tech. Because I have been into hardware kind of consulting and machine learning, the 2G sunset and the upcoming 3G and 4G spectrums in telecom, uh, fiber optic coming into picture, software defined networks coming into picture. Telecom was a very important part back then. So, having done all of that, why education technology? So, what I understood, my comprehension of education technology, what was happening in India, in and across India, was selling content via OTT platforms like Byju's and Upgrades, because they are just streamlining contents, whatever is needed for a BSc student or a BCom student or a BBA student, and they were tailoring it to their specific needs. However, in my understanding, what I always have felt and understood is what is the importance of education. So, if we look at the fundamental why, it it is very important to fall in love with a subject. If I really want to be a good student, or if I really want to be a good applicator, so falling in love with the subject of technology, and that to embed it into education, because there was always a complaint from if we look at the value chain, the employers are complaining that we do not get the right candidates, and the candidates are complaining that we do not get the right set of jobs. So both of them having similar kind of complaints, and at the same time there is a huge population that is ready to cater to the industry and the enterprise segment in different genres, of course. So what is there, that is the need of the hour, but it is not being delivered to every school, college, or university in today's date. They have an ERP platform. So when a student gets enrolled into an ERP and they move from one school to another, or one college to another, or one college plus another college, their data is not talking to each other. The ERP is nothing but a repository. So that is how ERP has been treated. Previously, it used to be called SOMS, School Operating Management System. In today's date, they are aligning with the industry lingo, and it is called ERP. However, the extent of ERP, I don't think even 1.1% is deployed into the academy ERP of what its potential could become. So similarly, scratching on the pet project in 2022, I was working as the vice president consulting in one of the market research firms, and I left my job and I decided that it's time that I either get on the ground, or it is that I keep uh, learning about it and learning about it and do nothing about it. So applying what is being learned is, I think, is more important and is the next stage of learning. So that is, I think, what is important for all the students in today's date, what they should be looking at. That if I have consumed something as a form of knowledge, where are the areas that I can applicate? So, for example, when we are taught unitary method back in school, we are always given the example of 10 mangoes cost 20 rupees, so 100 mangoes would cost how much? So we apply it in the local market when we go for grocery shopping or when we go for here and there. Similarly, whatever course of study, if we are learning or whatever we have access to, formally or informally, I think it is important for us to apply an analogy to it and see how that can be deployed into practical life. And having that sense as a fundamental thought and understanding that the ERP is a repository, as a silo, marrying both of them together, I think the initial concept was to bring a unified career infrastructure, which is called UCI, out there into the world, where it rhymes with the UPI. And why I say UCI is because we would like the slogan or the motto of our project, the infrastructure project that we are building up, is to have an infrastructure from birth to legacy and beyond. Because we have heard a lot of us say that my grandfather used to be great in mathematics and he's always scored 100 out of 100 in all his exams. He used to be a brilliant student. And we all have friends or colleagues or peers or subordinates in one way or another. And nobody moves around with their credentials. So if we are to pomp and if we are to talk about our glory and if we are to build and lay a brick on the pedigree that we are developing over age, I think it is important for us to keep a memory of what we have achieved, because validation is very important. What keeps us going on an everyday basis from one step to another. So, with such a huge population across India, I think digital public infrastructure is one of the most important things. We have seen Bill Gates and Narendra Modi talk about it. We have seen the stalwarts discuss about the impact of DPI, as in what it can do, how far it can look up to, and what are the possibilities with DPI. So then like initially it was just a platform where a student's record would be stored and the derivatives came on later at the stage. So if I am to go from let's say Agra to New Delhi, I wouldn't be able to visualize the entire road on the way. So that's a very first learning for a startup entrepreneur, I think, is you get to do what you're able to see right now. If I'm able to build on the first steps of the platform, let's build it. I do not know what's come right, what is coming left, or what could be the possible future thereafter. So you cross the bridge when you get there, as the saying says. So similarly, I think digital public infrastructure is light years ahead of time. What we are into, we are trying to, because it is not just an ERP or a repository just drawing out intelligence into dashboards. It is with the help of logical AI. I say logical AI because a lot of us miscomprehend statistical models as AI. The derivatives of statistics are not AI. And I have been evangelizing it for a significant period of time across different forums and sessions and talk shows. So it is must to be understood that there is a huge difference between AI and statistical models. Both are capable in its own way, and AI, in its true sense, if integrated with the repository that we have of our individual um, individual array of curriculum that we go through, whether it is academics, whether it is entitlement of in sports, whether it is art, whether it is culture. So, for example, why a diverse country like India, where we have different threads of education spinning into a yarn, and